This show is brought to you by the Chiropractic Broadcast Network. Check us out on the web at chiropracticbroadcastnetwork.com. And hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Tuning Into Health. This is Dr. Chad Rohlfsen, and this is episode number 181, happening on Monday, March 26, 2012. Thanks for joining me. We got a lot of news going over. I missed last Thursday. There just wasn't much going on, but when you miss, that means you got 1,300 news articles to review the next week. Anyway, hey, we got loaded for bear today. Just, good things come to those who wait. So, bacteria helps the body beef up immunity, study says. And U.S. Supreme Court begins hearings on healthcare reform. Which side do you stand on, huh? U.S. healthcare by the numbers. Well, we can look at the numbers of what it actually is costing. ADHD diagnosis rates rose sharply in the past decade. Yeah. Antibiotic-resistant germs accumulating in Lake Geneva. I wonder why that is, folks. Medications may raise the risk of blood pressure. You'd be surprised what that medication is. Antidepressants prove effective in relieving or alleviating osteoarthritis pain. I think it's just because the people don't frickin' care anymore, right? And antidepressants in, pregnancy, blah, blah, blah. And is your doctor breaking the law by not telling you this? What do you think, folks? I don't know. I'll tell you what, there's some things that I need to talk to you about today, so why don't you just stick around and we'll have a good time. And hey, I updated my title sequence for you. I know, because I'm not on at Mondays and Thursdays at 1 o'clock anymore. I'm on when I want to be on. We'll be back right after this. To this edition of Tuning Into Health. My name is Dr. Chad Rohlfsen, and I am your friendly neighborhood chiropractor from Des Moines, Iowa, right here from the Spinal Tuning Studios in Des Moines. Yep, it's little old me causing all sorts of trouble, making you think twice about your outlook on life, what you think you know about life, and I think that's a good thing. Hey, if you want to subscribe to these videos, please do so. You can subscribe on YouTube via Des Moines Chiro. That's going to be my main source of my uploads. I'm going to be quitting Blip. Blip TV is just annoying me a little bit, so can't get the audio sequencing right with the video, and it just, not right. So, again, if you want to subscribe via YouTube, please do it at Des Moines Chiro. That'd be one word on this. Hey, we got a lot of news going on, including bacteria may help beef up immunity. Now, gosh, who's saying that? Now, we got two sources for this. One goes from abcnews.com, and the other one is the Medical News Today. So when it comes to the thing is, though, when you go to the ABC News, it has a video, and it looks very prominent on the screen like it has something to do with this actual story, but it doesn't. It's got this geeky medical doctor talking about how early treatment of antihistamines and all this type of stuff will just quell your allergies this season and all this type of stuff. No, what you're doing is you're short-circuiting your body's ability to fight something. And the video is totally contraindicated to what this whole article is talking about. So this comes from March 23rd. When it comes to bacteria, many people have a pretty simple view. Germs are bad and our lives should be free of them as possible. As free of them as possible. But the alternate idea suggests is the opposite. The alternate idea comes from a chiropractic understanding of life, a chiropractic hygiene factor, in fact. But the alternate idea suggests the opposite. Germs are a necessary part of a healthy immune system. If you didn't have anything to fight against, well, you just become weak against it, right? Okay, helping your body's defenses beef up and fight future illnesses. When a person's exposure to germs is decreased, the problem may arise. The idea is called hygienic hypothesis, and it's been around since the early 1900s, and the chiropractic profession has championed it. Okay? For years, scientists have suspected that the role played in how diseases affect people in modern hand sanitizer world, what they would never have any specific evidence. But a new study from researchers at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston has changed that. Researchers studied two kinds of mice. One group had been exposed to normal bacteria environment, and the other group was basically totally germ-free. When the scientists compared the immune systems to the two groups of mice, they found that what they cited as evidence to support the hygienic hypothesis, that mice that had been exposed to microbes had a stronger immune systems than germ-free mice. What have I been saying? Have you been listening to me, folks? What have I been saying probably since day one about the stupid antibiotic stuff and the stupid hygienic world when it comes to hand sanitizers and all that type of stuff? What have I been saying? So, additionally, germ-free mice had an exaggerated inflammation in their lungs and colon, similar to what we see in humans who have asthma and ulcerative colitis. The researchers found that a particular kind of immune cell called the invariant natural killer T cells was particularly hyperactive in these mice. But it was not lost but all was not lost for the germ-free mice. Researchers introduced them to microbes in the first few weeks of their lives. Their fragile immune systems beef up to normal levels, but older germ-free mice didn't get the initial benefit. Yeah, you got to expose yourself to build your immune system. So, and this is from Medical News Today, and it talks about the same thing. I'll have both of these published on facebook.com/Rohlfsen. You're more than welcome to subscribe or become a friend. U.S. Supreme Court begins hearings on health care. Is that actually today? Opens blockbuster hearings on Monday. Yep. President Barack Obama's signature health care reform law in case of huge implications for the nation in the 2012 elections. As 9 justices took their seats in packed courtroom, hundreds of people were gathered outside, some chanting and marching against the Affordable Care Act, sometimes referred to by detractors as Obamacare. That's what I would prefer to call it, is Obamacare. And if you think it's going to be affordable, bull crap. What has happened to everything that's government subsidized? Huh? What happens when government makes contracts with different companies? The price goes up. The price goes up. It will not be affordable. I can assure you that. And even with insurance, the basic insurance problems that we have today, because insurance companies will go see fit to slash the standard prices. And so what ends up happening to the prices? It increases overall. It's just nuts. Laws have become polarizing in the United States and provide health care insurance to some 32 million Americans, lacking coverage in the social accomplishment for some, but also force people to buy insurance, an intrusion into civil liberties. Government can't force you to buy things. That's not in the Constitution. And I tell you what, there's a 90-minute hearing today. Tell you what I want you to do is I want you to be well aware of what's happening. I want you to support those groups that support what you believe in when it comes to healthcare, because I tell you what, if this Obamacare goes through, we're screwed as a nation. Our freedoms are all screwed. Eventually what's going to happen is you go into a grocery store and think that you can buy anything that you want. I'm sorry. You're going to have somebody like me saying, you don't need that Soda Pop. You don't need this, Twinkies. You don't need this. You don't need that. Those are my tax dollars. So I tell you what, Democrats are great at introducing a nanny state idea. But I tell you what, if it wants to be enforced, it's the Republicans who are going to enforce that type of stuff. I'd rather have nobody in charge of anything that I do. It's nobody's business what I put in my body and how I treat my body, or how healthy my body is. If that's the case, if you really want to go down that road, well, chiropractic has been proven to reduce healthcare costs across the board for overall healthcare spending. So if you want to mandate that I pay for healthcare, well then, damn it, I'm going to mandate that every person alive goes to a chiropractor once a week. Okay? That's what the literature supports. 46 to 69% less cost for those that go to the chiropractor versus those that don't go to the chiropractor. So that's my suggestion. And you know what? We can prove it. So anyway, hey, ADHD diagnosis rates rose sharply in the past decade, even though there's no objective proof that anybody has ADHD, right? Yep, it's a bunch of medical doctors that are listening to parents or teachers and say, oh, sounds like it here, just try this, see how this does. And they basically give them a chemical substance that's very close to cocaine. It's a class 2 narcotic, in fact. In the past decade, the number of children receiving diagnosis of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder has risen by 66%, and new research indicates. In 2000, just 6.2 million physician office visits regulated the diagnosis of ADHD. By 2010, that number had jumped to 10.4 million office visits. The study is likely, this is really like a 10,000-foot aerial view of this issue, says Dr. Craig Garfield. So we looked at the trends visit the doctors for ADHD over the last decade. They're interested in overlying some of the FDA's public health advisories and introductions of new medications for the specific trends. So it's not good. It's not good. And I tell you what, if you want to drug your child today, later on you're going to be sorry that you did so. It's damaging young minds. Antibiotic-resistant genes accumulating in Lake Geneva. Well, isn't that something I've talked about in the past? This comes from Science Daily, March 22nd. Large quantities of antibiotic-resistant bacteria enter through the environment via the municipal and especially hospital wastewater streams. Although wastewater treatment plants reduce the number of bacteria, the most hazardous multi-resistant strains appear to withstand and are even promoted by the treatment processes. This is demonstrated by EWAG researchers in a study carried out in Lake Geneva near Lausanne. So, not good. Antibiotics. Is your antibiotic prescribing doctor a quack? Is he making the problem worse or she making the problem worse? Maybe you should have a nice discussion about it with them. Okay? Or why don't you start just going to the chiropractor so you can see your medical physician a lot less? Not to say you stop seeing them altogether, but wouldn't it be nice if you could just see the medical doctor for a nice checkup, see how you're doing? And that's what happens. That's what happens to us chiropractors that care for people over a long period of time. We get people saying, you know what, doctor, ever since I started seeing you, I'm not seeing my medical doctor as much. And that's great. That's wonderful because they won't put dangerous medications into your body. I think that'd be a great thing. So, how about this? Medications raise blood pressure. Wow. So those of you who are on blood pressure medications, you better not be taking such painkillers as ibuprofen because it can raise blood pressure, and other medications can interfere with antihypertensive medications, researchers in Israel said. A researcher from the Tel Aviv University's Faculty of Medicine said many over-the-counter prescription medications are underlying causes of hypertension, which is a major risk factor in stroke and heart attack and aneurysms. Oral contraceptives, antidepressants, anti-inflammatory pills to control pain, and antibiotics to treat bacteria could cause drug-induced hypertension. Both patients and doctors remain dangerously uninformed, Grossman said. Although high blood pressure is still a known side effect of many of these medications, doctors do not always account for them in their treatment plans, and they don't always inform their patients of the potential risks associated with these medications. That will be on Facebook.com/Rohlfsen. You're more than welcome to borrow that study because I borrowed it from UPI.com. Yes. Boom, boom. Antidepressants proves effective in alleviating osteoarthritis pain. They can play a key role in alleviating painful conditions such as osteoarthritis and may result in fewer side effects than fewer side effects, including suicide and mass murder, such as anti-inflammatories and opiates occur. Oh, shit. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Fewer side effects. Oh, gosh. Antidepressants may raise the risk of pregnancy complications. This is in March 22nd Health Day News. Pregnant women taking antidepressants known for selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or SSRIs, face slightly increased risk of developing a dangerously high blood pressure, a Canadian research report. And insight, antidepressants give drug makers the blues. This comes from London, Reuters. The development of novel antidepressant ground to halt this week the development of a novel antidepressant ground to halt this week when researchers found it did not make patients feel any better than the pills they were already taking. The drug firms took the hit, while shares tumbling in Targacept, while AstraZeneca wrote off a total of $146.5 million in drug failures. The bad news for investors and the bad news for patients, and the strongly, depressingly familiar tale for drug makers seeking to develop new treatments for brain illnesses that they can't prove. I'm sorry, they can't prove. There's no objective research that proves this stuff. So, well, you know what? These drug makers, all they got to do is just take their antidepressants and they won't care. They won't feel any pain, right? I tell you what, this drives me nuts. Hey, take a look at this.
When you're looking for a new home, why not seek the counsel of friends who happen to know the housing market better than all the rest? Mike and Holly Taylor with Iowa Realty can answer all questions related to securing a mortgage and provide valuable information that is important to your family. Mike and Holly will provide you with a detailed summary of area schools, nearby amenities, and all the testimonials from the people that they have served. Call Mike or Holly at 453-6011. That's 453-6011 to start looking for your new home today.
We love our chiropractor, and I've got 3 great reasons why. First, there are no appointments, which is great for my busy life. Second, we don't waste a lot of time sitting in a waiting room. Dr. Chad actually respects our time and schedule. Third, we get unlimited care at a low fixed monthly fee. That's right, my family's care is based on our needs, not the insurance company's ability to pay. You can love your chiropractor too, and your first adjustment at the Spinal Tuning Center is free. The Spinal Tuning Center is conveniently located on Merle Hay Road, right off Interstate 80. Find out more at spinaltuning.com or call 727-4000.
And you are tuning into Health with Dr. Chad.
That's right, we're back. Yes, I would suggest Mike and Holly Taylor from Iowa Realty. They're good people, and they'll find you the right home. If you're looking for the right home in the Des Moines area, they're going to find it for you. They're a great tag team. Hey, is your doctor breaking the law? Seasonal flu vaccine is not the only vaccine the U.S. government is trying to mandate. The HPV vaccine is another and has been associated with many reports of serious injuries and deaths, just like the flu vaccine. In September of last year, California passed the bill AB 499, permitting minor children as young as 12 years old to be vaccinated with sexually transmitted disease vaccine like Gardasil without your parental knowledge or parental consent. This could be a disaster in the making. Informed consent is especially important when it comes to vaccination because there is no one that can predict whether your child will be one of the children who has a devastating vaccine reaction such as brain inflammation, paralysis, immune dysregulation, permanent brain damage, or even death. Furthermore, the doctors have been notoriously lax when it comes to providing patients with full disclosure of the potential side effects. Notoriously. I would assert for that. Furthermore, the doctors can be notoriously lax when it comes to, and even if they did inform minor children of the vaccine risk, are the pre-adolescent children really cognitively and emotionally mature to understand them, they fully weigh the risks and benefits of it appropriately? And what about the minor child who's given one or more vaccines without the knowledge of a parent and suffers a serious vaccine reaction, but the parent who has been kept in the dark doesn't know what's happening? So, you know what? We're absolutely right when it comes to informed consent and to scream about that type of thing. And I think that your rights should be upheld when you enact your consent giving a medical procedure. But in courts of law, they don't care. They don't care. They falsely basically weigh the public health against your complaint. And, so what? They didn't give you the proper informed consent. So what? Who cares? You don't matter anyway. The informed consent laws are a big joke, while they shouldn't be. They absolutely should not be, but they're considered a big joke. They are. You basically have no rights when it comes to the court system, and if you go after a medical doctor for not using informed consent properly, and maybe your child is that's who I'd go for. I don't know. I'd be tempted to take it out personally on the doctor, because you can't sue the vaccine companies, can you? No. So what you might want to go in there is armed with a personal statement of liability, meaning something that you could ask your lawyer to draft up. That, okay, if the person giving the shot will sign the personal statement of liability, meaning that they will cover all healthcare expenses from that child being injected with that type of vaccine, and their health goes awry, maybe they have permanent brain damage, well, that person will be personally responsible for the cost of treating your child if they become ill because of that. Maybe that might be something that can be done. But still, you can't put a gun to a person's head and say pay if they don't have the money. I don't know. Neurosurgeon issues a public challenge to vaccine zealots. Inject yourself with all the shots you say children should get. Dr. Russell Blaylock, a neurosurgeon, author of and expert on the excitotoxins, has issued a public challenge to vaccine pushers everywhere to put their money where their mouth is. During the recent interview with Mike Adams and a health ranger about the fraudulent science of the vaccine injury, Dr. Blaylock challenged Dr. Paul Offit, vaccine manufacturer, CEOs of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and the Prevention scientists, and others who insist that today's childhood vaccine regimens are safe to publicly receive these same regimens for themselves. So you can watch the full interview on Natural News TV, tv.naturalnews.com. So this is a new challenge by Dr. Blaylock. I remember there was an old challenge that kind of fell to the wayside. So Dr. Paul Offit has been one that said that he's made arrogant statements saying that you could safely get up to 10,000 vaccines at once. Well, Dr. Blaylock wants him to put his money where his mouth is, huh? A journal stands out in prestige and longevity. Yeah, right. This is an antique that outperforms the newer models. The first issues of the New England Journal of Medicine were peeled off and hand-operated letterpress in January 1812. 2 centuries later, it becomes the oldest continuously published general medical journal in the world, and the most prestigious and the most corrupt. Yes, I said it, folks. The most corrupt. Christian yoga, trading Om for Amen. It's one thing that's kind of driven me crazy because, if you have meditation or something like that, you'll get certain religious groups that say, oh, no, it's not of Jesus Christ and blah, blah, blah. Well, my whole thing is with meditation, and you really get into cultural sensitivities. And never mind the fact that culture has developed a way to lower blood pressure naturally and normally and increase your overall wellness by practices of meditation and yoga. Christians are so fearful. But now, well, of course, what ends up happening is Christian yoga takes effect. So some entrepreneur is come up with a way to make it all right with God and you about having yoga. So Jessica Heller liked what the power of yoga did for her body, but she loves what holy yoga does for her body and spirit. Heller, 29, found a Christian-based yoga practice, which she moved into her native Phoenix from Denver. To her, the environment was more inviting and more community rather than regular yoga class, and it brought a spiritual element aligned with my personal belief systems. Great, and it works for her. That's wonderful. That's exactly what needs to happen. What a handshake says about your health. Do you know what your risk of dementia or stroke will be down the road? New research find out the surprisingly simple test today could give away the answer. The handshake test. How's your grip? Not only is a firm handshake a sign of confidence, but doctors say it's a barometer of your health, too. Researchers have followed nearly 2,500 men and women for more than a decade, according to new research presented at the American Academy of Neurology's 64th annual meeting, and linked the risk of dementia and stroke to how strong their handshakes were at the beginning of the study. Having a stronger grip was associated with a 42% lower risk of stroke in people aged 65 or older compared to other studies participants with flimsier grasps. What's the connection? Vascular problems in the brain manifest themselves in a wide variety of ways, says the study's author. The suspicion is that your grip is particularly weak. It could be a sign of your overall cardiovascular health and isn't in the best shape, she says. Wow, that's great, because every time I'd say about 55% of the time that I ever shake somebody's hand, I end up getting a bone to shift. I got a firm handshake, but I don't smash it. But I always usually get a clunk. Their hand gives way in some way. It's weird. Their bones move in their hand. And it doesn't hurt them, no, but it's giving them a firm handshake. Thin patients have a higher risk of dying after surgery. Yeah, because they don't have very much body reserves. A thin person's more likely to die on a desert island than the husky person that's got a lot more fat. Why? Because they have more reserves. While being trim is generally good for the health, it may actually raise the risk of death after surgery, recent study research suggests. So that will be on Facebook.com/Rohlfsen. We got the last two. We're coming up here. Trying to get this under a half an hour for you folks. Bottled water may boost kids' tooth decay, dentists say. Oh, say it isn't so. And with the BPH or the chemical toxicity in plastic bottles and all this type of stuff, that's what you're starting to think about it. But no, guess what this? So, I had the dentist tell me to make sure to give my kids tap water instead of bottled water because the latter isn't fluoridated. And he's seeing kids with more cavities, said Wilson, who posted in the regular blog, the Type A Parent. So basically this is because bottled water, they're saying that bottled water doesn't have fluoride in it. Well, a lot of it does have fluoride in it. A lot of it is just tap water. But tell you what, there is the risk of fluoridosis, which is becoming more apparent to the United States government, and evidently not the dentists, the ADA. Anyway, forget the fruits and veggies, and no, don't forget the fruits and veggies. And popcorn? Huh? This comes from March 25th, Health Day News. Want a healthy snack? Consider passing the popcorn. New study says the whole grain treat contains more of the good-for-you antioxidants called polypropanols than some fruits or vegetables. About the amount of polyphenols in popcorn was about 300 milligrams per serving compared to 114 milligrams per serving of sweet corn and 160 per serving of all fruits, according to a new study findings presented in the Sunday meeting of the American Chemical Society in San Diego. This is because the polyphenols are diluted in 90% water that makes up many fruits and vegetables, whereas more of the concentrated in popcorn, which averages about 4% water, the study authors said, which is really interesting because I'd coat it in some coconut oil too, butter flavored, of course. And some sea salt would be good. So anyway, hey, that's all I got for you today, folks. Except, wait a second. Nutritionists recommend adding coconut oil to your coffee or tea. That's what I do every morning. Basically, the benefits of using coconut oil are including the following: antibacterial, antifungal. Take a teaspoon in the morning for the immune system booster. Enhances cognitive thinking. Take a teaspoon on the day that you have a foggy brain or need some mental energy. Improves athletic performance. Fatty acids in coconut oil are an energy source for exercise. Supports your body fat loss. Yes, healthy fat can assist your body in releasing adipose fat, protecting the hydrates in your skin, moisturizer and sunscreen. Best of all, and it's the best oil at a high heat. Replace your olive oil with coconut oil due to the fact that the higher heat point for cooking. And I've started doing that. I've started using coconut oil for eggs and whatnot. I'm going to use it for popcorn. Hey, that would be a good idea. That would be a good idea indeed. Anyway, folks, I hope you had fun today. I know I did. The show is a lot of fun for me. If you have any suggestions you'd like to see, or if you'd like me have any stories that you'd like me to go over, please post them on facebook.com/Rohlfsen. Please subscribe to Des Moines Chiro. This is the YouTube channel that I'm using for this little webcast. So on that note, I'm out of here. Thanks for sticking around and seeing what I have to say. Oh, remember, ignorance is a bad thing. And it's good for you to combat that a little bit. On that note, thanks so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.